Okay, so uh, first we looked at overall architecture of an application. We discussed databases, we discussed backend applications, we wrote some SQL queries, we created tables, we have roughly like general idea of how databases work, and we have general idea about how backend systems work. Now it's time to move to front end, like client side of the things. On the client side, we might have mobile applications like iOS application, Android application, and also we might have like desktop applications. For example, right now I'm using Zoom. Zoom is desktop application. It can be on macOS. I don't know, it can be on Windows. And we have web applications. Our focus will be on web applications. Web application is just any application that you open with your browser. For example, twitter.com, youtube.com, this is a web application. And your browser, like Google Chrome, I don't know, Firefox, Safari, this is a browser that parses the code of that web application and displays you some nice user interface. So web applications consists of like to create a web application, you need three fundamental things. First is HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Second is CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets with two E's. And second, we need JavaScript, which is just a programming language. So HTML is used to create like a structure of web application. It doesn't give you any nice looking UI. It doesn't give you like beautiful colors. It doesn't give you like possibilities to move objects around. I don't know, add interaction with mouse clicks. I don't know, hovers. CSS gives you possibilities to design your web page. You can write some CSS code, then you can color your background. I don't know, any web page you see here, we have structure, like the content you see here, like texts, buttons, and etc. These are created using HTML. But the reason why this button is green and why whenever I hover on it, it turns its color to darker green, it's because of CSS. And the JavaScript is a programming language that runs in your browser. We learned a programming language called Python. We downloaded Python interpreter, which gets our code, executes it. But JavaScript runs in browser. It means that every browser has JavaScript compiler, JavaScript interpreter, a program that understands JavaScript. So basically, to create a web application, you only need a browser. Like you don't need to download anything. You don't need to. You might need an internet to search for some stuff, but you don't need to download or install something. You only need a browser, because HTML and CSS and JavaScript, all of them runs inside your browser. So first, CSS is the topic of our next lecture, and JavaScript is the topic of our last lecture. Because of that, I've removed this text from here, so we stay only with HTML. Today, we will learn HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. What is hypertext? We talked about hypertext before, just very briefly. Can you remember what is hypertext? No? Hypertext is a text that contains hyperlinks. Hyperlink is just a fancy word for a link. . For example, there are some because she wants to learn more about it here and here. Yes. It's written good. Yes, so web page consists of hypertext. And for that reason, you can click on some link and this redirects you to another hypertext. And you click, then this cycle doesn't end probably. So hypertext is a text which contains hyperlinks. So HTML is a language to create a hypertext. And what is markup? Why do we have markup language? Why do we have this word markup here? There are some ways to format a text. For example, I am writing you a message in Telegram. Let's say I want to format my text. I want to send some bold text. Okay, let's enter to some group here. I don't know which group. Tech Cafe, let's say. I want to write here, hello, my name is Orhan, but I want this text to be bold. Okay, what do I do in this case? I write some, I think 1 or 2 stars, I don't remember. Let me write someone else. I don't want to disturb. Okay, let's do. Okay, this is the way I format my text. I put some stars and Telegram understands it and makes my text bold. I don't know if it's visible. I cannot zoom it. That's why it's not visible. Okay, so we need a way to format text. I want my text to be bold, to be italic, I don't know, whatever. For that reason, we can use 2 ways. The first one is markdown and the second one is markup. Markdown versus markup. Markdown enables you to format a text using just symbols. For example, star, I don't know, underscores. I'm not sure, but probably you have written some text in WhatsApp to somebody. You can write some text, I don't know, underline that text, I don't know, add lines through that text. You use some characters like underscore, I don't know, tilde characters. So Markdown, in Markdown, to format a text, you use characters. In markup, to format a text, you use tags. What are tags? Let's show. For example, let's say I want a bold text. In Markdown, to create a bold text, I will do something like this. But in markup, to create a bold text, I will have something like this. Okay, we call them tags. Like this is opening tag and this is closing tag. So this is difference between markdown and markup. So HTML is markup language, meaning that we use these tags. Tag is just some letter between this greater and less sign. So HTML is markup language to create hypertext. It's very like basic. And markdown language, every day you write message to your friends in WhatsApp, in some messenger, you use markdown there. You don't use tags to format text, but you use a markdown language. So HTML is a markup language, so we use tags. This brings us to the point that HTML is just bunch of tags and bunch of text. Okay, so if you want to write HTML, you just open any text editor. Doesn't matter. It shouldn't. It doesn't have to be Visual Studio Code. Any text editor, you can write it in Notepad, and we will create a file with HTML extension. Okay, I will create, let's say, example.html. example.html, and Visual Studio Code will add this logo here saying that this is an HTML file. Okay. In HTML, I can write some. Yes.
So we will open a new file here and name it .html.
Yes. .html. Yeah, any name doesn't matter. So I can write here some text. Let's say I write here hello world. Okay, I write here hello world. This HTML document can be opened using your browser. Okay, I can just go to my Finder. I can find this file. Let's say I go to work, Antec, and HTML, CSS. I have this example HTML file here. I can double click it. It will open, whenever I double click HTML file, it will open your default browser. My default browser is Google Chrome. And I can just zoom it for fun. So this is my HTML document that has been opened in my browser. As you see, HTML is just for writing text, but I can format this text. I can format this text using some tags. MDN HTML tags.
This new file is an open file, new control of Windows. New text file, it's a new file.
New file, file'ın extension'ı HTML olmalı. So if you want to format this text, this is just hello world, okay? It's not formatted. If I open this file in the browser, it just shows me regular text, hello world. It's very small. Let's say I want it to be big. I need to use some predefined tags. And these tags, like I don't create my own tags, but these tags are defined by some organization which is called W3 Consortium, World Wide Web Consortium. So this is, for example, this is a paragraph tag. We usually have an opening tag and a closing tag. And we wrap our content inside this opening and closing tags. And this text will be formatted by whatever this tag represents. For example, let's say I want this text to be level 1 heading. For that, I can create a tag H1. H1 means level 1 heading. Okay. I will close and I will open and I will close this tag. Okay. Closing tag will have this backslash here before this less than sign. And between these opening and closing tags, we will have this hello world. And whenever I go to my browser, I find my page again and I refresh it. You will see that I have this text bold and it has bigger font size. So if you want to see like HTML code of any web page, for example, let's go to facebook.com. You can right click and there will be a option which is called view page source. view page source will show you like HTML content of this page. You will see that there are some tags like HTML, meta, head. There are some weird tags, script, link, like there are some non-understandable stuff that's going on here. But let's just focus on here. You see that there is an HTML tag, there is a head tag, there is also a body tag. Let's search for it. There is also a body tag. We can start our HTML file like this. There is no problem. But according to standards, HTML file should have some structure. So historically, there has been another markup language, which was called XML, which stands for Extensive Markup Language, historically. HTML is a descendant of this language, okay? Descendant of this XML language. This is what XML looks like, okay? XML have this doc type, meaning that what type of document is this? XML have this, I don't know, some weird tags, and etc. So HTML is just descendant of XML. So since XML have some standards, HTML has to obey those to those standards. For example, each HTML document should have some required tags. First one is called doc type. Okay. At first, like in the first line of my HTML document, I will write a doc type, like opening tag and exclamation mark, doc type, HTML. Okay, I will remove this part. This means that this document, this XML document, this is type of HTML. Then I need to open an HTML tag, and I need to close it like this. Inside the HTML tag, we will have two tags. One will be head, the other will be body. This is not strict. Like HTML has some forgiving nature. Whenever you write like non-valid HTML code, it will not show you some errors, but it will try to fix it.
What's the role of the
It is just for browser, just to let browsers know that this is an HTML document. Without it, everything works fine because of browsers. Browser just by default understand that, okay, this is HTML. I want to see it as HTML. Yeah, this is just standard, okay? You don't have to write it. Usually, for example, let's say in Visual Studio Code, I will write HTML5. It will write all of this like template code for me. I will not have to write all of them one by one. I'm just explaining. Okay. So we have doc type, we have HTML tag, we have a head tag, we have body tag. And as you see, we open, we close, we open, we close, we open, we close. And let's see what is head and what is body. Inside head, we have some metadata about this page, this document. What is metadata? Metadata is what data about data. Okay. What is this page about? What, I don't know, what is the title of this page? What is the icon of this page? Like some metadata. This is not like main content of my web application, but this is just some metadata. Okay. For example, as you see here in my example HTML, you see my title is in this tab. My title is example.html. But let's say I want it to be, for example, yes, HTML. For example, I want my page title to be this. Okay, I can refresh the page. You will see that title will be yes HTML. I can even customize this icon. As you see here, Mozilla have icon. I don't know, here this website has icon. You can find some icon from websites. For example, let's find some Facebook small logo. Okay, well, let's find some image. This is not small. Okay, let's find this. I will save this image inside my Antec HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Let's save Facebook logo.png. Okay, I have this Facebook logo.png here. For example, I can add a link tag here. I will say that this link tag is icon of my page, and icon should be this image, like Facebook logo.png. This image should be icon. Okay. For example, this image shown here. Let's not complicate it. I will remove it because it's this tag is a little bit complicated. We will talk about it later. So the brief, to summarize, we should have doc type, HTML, head, and body. If you don't write this, you will not get error. You will still get results because browsers try to fix your HTML if you don't write anything. But it's good practice to write them. In head, I write some metadata. In body, like main content of my web page will be inside body. Okay. So in body, I can write again my HTML like hello world. And I can save this file, go here and refresh the page.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver.
What?
What was the name of this site? Website.
This website?
Yeah.
This is just this HTML file. Okay. Now, I wrote this HTML file. Okay. Then what I do, I go to any like file explorer. I just double click into my HTML file. Okay. Double click your HTML file. Whenever you open HTML file, your operating system will open your default browser. For me, my default browser is Google Chrome. That's why it will open my default browser. Did it work for you? File'ı tapdın. Üstüne 2 dəfə klik elə. Yok, 2 dəfə tık eləsən açmalıdır onu. Orada yok, sen Explorer mısın? Yoksa Visual Studio Code'un içinde. Visual Studio. Bakmalı. This is a H1 tag. Let's start with H1 tag. There are like plenty of HTML tags. You don't have to know them by heart. I don't know them by heart. Even any expert developer, I don't know. No one knows all HTML tags by heart. Okay, you can write in Google all HTML tags. You will get a lot of lists. For example, HTML element reference. As you see, that there are a lot of HTML tags here. You don't have to know them all by heart, but by writing you can remember them. So this is called level 1 heading. Like this is the biggest heading on the web page that you can have. There are 6 levels of headings. Okay, you can have 6 of them. For example, H2, hello world. You can have H3, hello world. You can have H4, hello world. You can have H5, hello world. You can have H6, hello world. Okay. H1 is the biggest one and H6 is the smallest one. If I open my web page here, you will see that I have the biggest header, like smaller, smaller, smaller, and this H6 is the smallest heading element. For example, these are used for headings. Then, for example, we have a paragraph tag. We have paragraph tag. Inside paragraph tag, we write well paragraphs. So lorem, yes, if you write lorem in Visual Studio Code, it will generate you some lorem ipsum $citamet.
What's what?
Lorem, this is just the placeholder text. It doesn't have any meaning. Just used for example, you are designing a web page and you don't have any words to put there. You just put lorem ipsum $citamet. Yeah. For example, I refresh my page. This is the text that I have here. Then what else can we have? Then we can format some text. Let's say I want to have a bold text. I can use B tag. For example, I don't know, Iron Man. I am Iron Man. It will be bold. For example, I means italic text. I can write here, I don't know, I am Optimus Prime. Then I will have this I am Optimus Prime as italic text here. Then, for example, I have U tag, which means underline. I can write, I don't know, I am inevitable. And this text will be underlined. And tags can contain another tags. Okay, for example, I have paragraph tag here. Inside this paragraph tag, I can have another HTML tags. For example, let's say I want to make this text bold. Okay, I can write B tag here, which is inside the P tag. Let's say I want to have this pair to be underlined. I can use this U tag, which is for underline, and we will have this like asteriores. Okay, so it means that you can have like deeper level of nesting inside HTML tags. Like this tag can contain another tag, this tag can contain another tag, and so on and so forth. And okay, so these are some basic HTML tags for formatting some texts. There are also some let's say I want to show an image. I want to show an image inside my web page. For that reason, I can use an IMG tag. IMG, as you might guess, this stands for image, and this image is a self-closing tag. Self-closing means that, for example, this opens and then closes. But self-closing tags they close themselves. They don't have closing tags. You can write it like this, but yeah, I don't think there will be some error here, but it's not valid. Like browser will try to fix it for you. The correct way to write the image element is this. And here a question arises that what image I want to show. Let's first download some image. Which image? Please tell me some image name. I don't know. What?
C.
C? Okay. No fun. No fantasy. Let's see what we have in no fun. This is obviously not no fun, but yeah, this looks like that.
In general.
Okay, this looks more interesting. Let's open this. Okay, this is open. So I save this image inside my Novkhana beach dot JPEG. Okay, so I have this image here, Novkhana beach. So HTML tags have attributes. Attribute is just the just something to customize that tag. For example, as you in Python, we had functions, as you remember. To customize behavior of functions, we passed parameters to functions. Let's say I wrote, I don't know, is prime function, it takes a parameter. And like HTML tags takes some attributes. For example, image tag has an attribute which is called SRC, which stands for source. Like, what's the source of this image? And the HTML attributes. So this is how HTML attributes are shown. Like, you might have several attributes, and each attribute, like we have attribute name. We don't create like custom attribute. They are predefined. You can search on them. You can search them in internet. And then we have this double quote, and then we have value of this attribute, like name, value inside double quotes, name, value inside double quotes. They are called attributes. So as with this image, inside this source directory, I need to show this HTML document where my image is located. Then my image is located just near me, and it's called Novkhana Beach. I can write Novkhana Beach .jpg, like full file name. It will show me the Novkhana Beach. I will refresh my page. And as you say, this is a very big image, but I can customize it as well. For example, I can write here, height of this image should be, I don't know, 500 pixels. If you write only height, it will try to fit the width to the height, like to with correct aspect ratio. Like width and height ratio will stay same, but the image will be smaller, like this. So I can also, what?
Source, it was the main source of the program that you took from Google, or you just.
I downloaded this image here on my computer, and I showed half of this image inside my computer. I can also show some link from the internet. For example, let's get, I don't know, Novkhana again. For example, this is Novkhana. As you see, for example, this has some link, right? This is the link of this image, and this is public. Everyone can see it. Instead of downloading this image inside the source, I can paste the link of this image. This means just this image does not live inside my computer, but this image is inside somewhere in the internet. It will still show this image. It is slow because it has to, as you see here, it's an HTTP request. To show this image, your browser will make HTTP request to this website, which is the website like wikimedia.org, and you'll download image and show it. And that's why it will be like a little bit slower if you have slow network connection. So, okay. But I will save this one here. For example, image tags also have an attribute which is called alt. This is not very necessary, but this alt stands for alternative. Like the web is fundamentally designed for everyone. Let's say you have visual deficiencies. You don't see anything. I don't know. You're blind. Okay. If you're blind, you probably use some screen readers to read the web page, and you will not see the image, but you need to know what's here, like what is this image. For this reason, people usually write alternative text here. For example, if you can't see the image, at least you need to have description of this image. For example, beautiful image of Novhana beach, for example. This is just description of my image. This is not like super important, but this is good for accessibility reasons. For example, in elevators, you see there are some buttons for blind people, and in the web page there are some alternative text for blind people. Like developers should take care of this stuff. Okay, and this is image tag, and then let's move to link tag. Okay, let's say we are writing a hypertext. This text can contain links. It doesn't have to, but it can contain links to another page. Okay, I can create a new HTML file here. Let's create a new HTML file, call it home.html. And then I will have this doc type here. Doc type HTML, then I will have HTML, then I will have head, I will have row from home, then I will have what? I will have body. This is my second HTML page here. I can go between those pages. I can go from this page to that page, to that page, to this page. For that reason, I can use links. Okay. Very unintuitively, this tag is called A. For some reason, link tag is called A. This stands for anchor. I don't know what anchor means. But if you want to create a link inside your HTML page, you need to use this A tag. This is just regular tag. It should open and it should close. Inside this open and closing, like you have some text. For example, I will click that text and it will redirect me to some other page. For example, go to home page, for example. And this A tag should have some attribute, like whenever a user clicks this text, where we need to send them. For that reason, we will have an attribute which is called href. Href, I don't know what H stands for. Ref stands for just reference. This is a link. This is a reference to another page. It can be any link like facebook.com, I don't know. It can also be a link to another HTML page. For example, home.html. I refresh the page. As you see, I have a link here. It's highlighted. I can click to this link. It will send me to this yes home HTML page. This is just another HTML page that I just created. Yes. Yes, this is just attribute, and value of this attribute is like where you want to go when user clicks this button.
Just forwards the user to the another.
Yes, yes. Like any link in the internet, you see, this is just an A tag. Okay. We can just go to, I don't know, facebook.com. For example, this forgot password. This is a link, right? Let me inspect it. Like I can right click on it. I can inspect it, and you will see. Let me zoom it. You will see that there is an A tag, which has href, which will redirect me to this long URL, and text is forgot password. Like any link in the internet you see, this is an A tag. So I can also have some URL here, like https google.com, let's say. Then whenever I click it, it will redirect me to google.com. And we can have another attribute here, which is called target. For example, let's say I say that target blank. It means that whenever user clicks this page, open a new tab. Not this tab, open a new tab. Okay. I refresh my page. I click this link. This will open a new tab, and this tab will stay here. Okay. And what else? What else? What else we can have here? Like we looked at heading tags, we looked at paragraph tags, we looked at some formatting tags. There are a lot of tags here. And links, yeah, let's see buttons, then we can have a break, then we'll continue. Like on any web page, you have buttons, right? If you want to create a button, you just write button tag, okay? Button. This is just button tag. I will write click me. This is another button here.
Once I saw some Instagram, high school boy wrote there was an exam in Google, and he clicked instead, and after that he created a button, the real answer, and after he clicked it, all the answers would go correct. Is there anything possible?
If the quiz that you are taking on the internet, like it has some that feature, like the developer of that web page didn't think of that, then it's possible. But usually, like the answers are not stored on the client side. Because if you store your answers on the client side, it is not secure. Like as a client, I can inspect the data here. Imagine that, for example, you are taking some certification exam, I don't know, IELTS or something, and they store answers in the browser. Then you can just take a look at answers. And usually they get your data and they check it on the backend, because checking the answers on the backend is more secure, because users cannot interfere with them. Yeah, but this is the button. This just looks like button, but whenever I click it, nothing will happen, because like we don't have such feature. We haven't implemented anything. This is just a button. What type of attributes a button have? For example, I can add an attribute which is called disabled. Example, disabled. Disabled means that this button is disabled, like it will not let you to click it. And if I remove this disabled, it will let me to click it. Yeah, but nothing happens whenever I click it, because if you want to do that kind of functionality, you will need to learn JavaScript. For example, if you learn JavaScript, you can say that, okay, whenever user clicks it, call this function, okay? Hello, call this hello function. But we will talk about it when we talk about JavaScript. Okay. What else? We talked about, we have actually some stuff, but let's talk about them after having 5-minute break. So these are some basic tags, like heading tags, paragraphs, some tags to format some text, and then we show the image tag, a tag, and button tag. Let's look at a little bit more complicated tag, which is called table. In HTML, I can create my own table. We'll talk about design of that table next lecture. But you have to write first like markup of that table. To create a table in HTML, you will have to use a tag which is called a table. Inside the table, we have two sections, table header and table body and table footer. Actually, three sections, but we can skip, for example, let's say I have table, but I don't have header of this table. I don't have footer of this table. I will write all of them, like t-head is, table header is called t-head, and table body is called t-body, and table footer is called t-foot. These are the three sections of this table. And inside t-head, just imagine any table. Table has columns and rows. So on each of them, we will have what? A row. Like on table head, we should have one row, like heading row. And we define rows with TR tag, which just stands for table row. Inside the table row, we should have some columns. Like let's say I have a list of users. If they have ID, name, I don't know, username, etc. Inside table head, we should define columns as TH. It just means table heading. Inside row, we should have some columns. Let's say this ID, name, I don't know, username, email. I think that's it. Username, email. Okay. So if I refresh my page, you will see this. Yeah, you will see this table here. This is heading of that table. You can actually, if you want to see borders of the table, you can write border 1, let's say, onto this table, and you will see like borders of this table.
You want to fill that table,
With
for
date.
example, ID 10, name, full name, something else.
Yeah. So this row, as you say, this is a row. This row is just for heading. And inside this T body, we will write another rows. For example, table row. I have first row, let's call it TD. Like inside T head, columns are called TH, TH, TH. These are columns, TH, TH, TH, TH. As you see, TH are bold text. But inside the T body, instead of TH, you will write TD. It just means table data, cell, table cell. Okay, let's say I have ID of, let's say 3, I don't know, I have ID of Kenan Arzumanlı, and then username is Arzum, email is arzum at, I don't know, gmail.com. And then we have only one row inside the table body. It will look like this. I have, these are my table headings, TH, TH, TH, and this is my table data, TD, TD, TD, TD. I can copy it. Let's copy this table row. I can duplicate it. Then we will have like a lot of columns here, a lot of rows here. If I write one more, if I write one more TD here, let's say, like in the heading, we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, but one of the rows contains 5 columns. I don't know. Yeah, for example. It will look like something like this because like we don't have the, like the rest of them does not have this last column. That's why usually when you write tables, like you need to know which is which. You need to keep track of like columns here and columns here. Like, and the number of columns here should be same as number of columns here. And inside table footer, we can also have some rows like table row. Let's add some data here. Let's add, which is called grade. Okay. And let's say Kenan Arzumanlı have 100 grade, and then let's remove some of them. Let's say then we have Murat Arzumanlı, then we have Maksut Arzumanlı, then we have Rasul Arzuman, Rasul Arzuman. All of them has a grade 100 because all of them are brothers. They copied from each other. So this is our table. Kenan, Murat, Maksud, Rasul. They have the same emails and same grades and same username because they copied from each other.
All of us using the same code, same.
Yes. So they only had time to change name. Okay. So inside table footer, you can also have a table data. Let's say inside footer, I want to show the average grade. Okay, I can write only one column here. One column here. Okay, but let's say I want this column. This is only one column. I want this column to span all these columns. Okay, I want this column to take up all the space, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want this column to be 5 columns long. I can use an attribute which is called colspan. I can write it 5. Then it will be like this: colspan 5. We can move this text to right, but not now. We'll move it tomorrow, like next lecture when we talk about CSS. Yes, colspan means just how many columns it will span, it will go. Since we have 5 columns, it will just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is a table. You can have also summary of this table. For example, inside table, I can write like summary tag. Summary means just what this table is about, students and their grades. This is not necessary, but you can have this summary here. This belongs to this table. We write it inside table, this summary tag. This just means that this is description of this table. Maybe someone is using screen reader. They don't see the screen, but they read the screen. And they just want to see what this table is about. They don't want to read all the data. Okay, table is clear. This should be clear. And then what we have, some of the interesting HTML elements. Yeah, actually we have some interesting HTML elements. Let me download some music, okay? I don't know if I have some music here. Let me see. Work. No, why do we have work? Like learning. I should have videos here. Learning. These are not playground. Books. No. Okay, let me download some music. Just tell me which music do you like. Balaylı. Baharı. Bahar olmaz. Okay, let me copy this. I will also YouTube to MP3. I will download this as music. Okay.
What is the name of this site?
Just Y to mate. You just write YouTube.
MP4.
Yes, YouTube.
MP4 to MP3.
Yes, you just paste YouTube link, it converts to MP3. Okay, then work, untag, then HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I call this music Bahar olmayacak. Also, let's YouTube download the video. Let's download the video as well. Bilas and Şair. Do you know this, Beyhana? Okay, let's also download the video. Only this essential. Okay, let's download it. MP4. Okay, it's converting. No, it's downloading. Okay, download MP4. Okay, Bilasan Şair. Okay, we have our video and audio. So in HTML, we have a tag which is called what audio. In HTML, we have a tag which is called audio. And audio as image, for example, when we define image, we define what source of this image. We need to define source of the audio. So this can be self-closing tag, but this also can be just regular tag. But let's write it like this for now. Okay, source of this audio is what? Bahar olmayacak. Bahar olmayacak. Whenever I open my web page, I will click, we will not see anything. But we can define an attribute which is called controls. It means just show controls of this audio player. I will refresh the page and you will see that it showed me controls of the audio player. I can play it. I can use this start, playback speed. I hope no one enters to the room. Okay, this is audio. Now you can also, there's also an attribute which is called autoplay. Autoplay, it means that whenever a user opens your web page, it will start to autoplay. But this is not, this is annoying for users. For that reason, browsers usually block it. Okay, let's say I do it and I will open inspect. You can see console. Actually, it didn't show anything, but yeah. Autoplay true, maybe. I'm not sure. Controls didn't show me any error, but default levels, all levels. Okay, it didn't show me, but
Use the video.
we will also use the video. It is just audio tag. Okay, but usually, as you see, we used controls here. But these controls are different for each browser. Okay, this is in Google Chrome. These controls look like this, but in Firefox they will look like this. Okay, in Safari they will look even different. For that reason, people usually don't use the default controls. Let's say you have a Spotify web page. They build this audio player from scratch. They use audio tag, but they build it from scratch because it needs to be consistent across all browsers and all devices. It doesn't have to appear different on everywhere. So, as just like audio, we also have video tag. We also have this source. With this video, we can define the source as Bilasan Şair MP4. Then we will see it as this. Okay, what happened? Okay, this is my video. As you see, it doesn't show anything. Let's add controls here. Just let it show the controls to us. I can. This is just regular video. Okay. they are just basically they are same. They don't have very much difference. And the controls is the thing I told about controls is also same for video. In Firefox, they will look very differently. For that reason, they will have like if you want to build your own video player, you will have to build it from scratch. As for example, YouTube. YouTube doesn't use this default controls. They have built their own UI and they have designed their own UI and they have implemented functionality from scratch. There are a lot of attributes for video. For example, let's say you want to add subtitles for the video, you will have to add some tracks, okay? Video tracks, HTML. Video track list. Let me for example, let's also define width and height for video. Let's say width is 100 pixel. Okay, if you define 100 pixels is very small. This width is 500 pixels.
For example, can you make this the video photo video model? For example, if you find 360 pixel video in YouTube, after returning to MP4 or right here in this code as a code, can we make it, for example, 1080 pixel?
We can, but this is a different story. Usually, but there are two things actually. First, in real web page that have billions of users, they don't specify source just like this. The reason why is that because this video actually takes up some space. This is 38 megabytes. This will take some time to download. The reason why I see it here instantly because I don't download it from internet. This is in my local computer. Okay. So instead of giving you the whole video at once, web page usually send you the video one by one, like byte by byte. Okay, it's called streaming. That's why they call it like video streaming, audio streaming. It just means instead of sending the whole thing, they send you byte by byte. Okay, there are some technologies when you use this streaming, like you say that, okay, user using JavaScript, you can say your server that, okay, my user has slow internet, please send low quality video, and we show low quality video. And this happens during that streaming. For example, this first byte goes full HD, and if internet slows down, the second byte will go, I don't know, 360 pixels. Okay, and with this audio and video, there is also another way to define source. Okay, for example, the same is true with audio tag, audio HTML audio source. Yeah, for example, you can use this audio tag as opening and closing tags, and you can define different multiple sources. Let's say your user's device doesn't support OGG format. I don't know, it's just music audio format. Okay, maybe your, for example, your user uses some old device, they don't support this format, then automatically browser will fall back into this format. Okay, these are good for this like accessibility, like everyone should be able to listen to this music. Okay, usually for the big web page that have hundreds on, I don't know, billions of users, they will have a lot of formats, a lot of different formatted audios that everyone can understand and everyone can listen. The same is true for video. Let's say we have, video has also format which is called OGG. interestingly. Yeah, for video, you can also define it like this. Instead of defining source here, you can define source with this source tags, and you can define their types. If your browser will see that it cannot play the video, it will switch to different type, like this type, then this type. It will try from top to bottom. And then, as I also mentioned, let's say I want to put subtitles to my video. I need to add this track attribute. And track attributes, not attribute, this track is tag, okay? Track tag has kind attribute, meaning that is it subtitles, is it caption, is it description? Then is it in English, is it in Azerbaijani, I don't know, is it in Russian? And you provide your subtitle file. It's called video text tracks, VTT. Okay, you can write it for yourself. I don't know, VTT format, MDN, I can show you. It's just VTT format is something like this. You say that, for example, from 1 second to 4 seconds, this text needs to go. From this second to this second, this text needs to go. Okay, you can write it from scratch yourself, and you can put it under your video. Okay, these are for tracks. And then what? We have audio, we have video. There are some interesting tags. And then let's move to, let's move to form elements. Do you have any questions till now? No? Okay. So let's move to form elements. Okay. In any website you go, you will probably have some form, like contact form, login form, registration form, anything. For that, you need to have some inputs, text areas, I don't know. And you will need these tags for building such UIs, okay? First, we need a tag which is called a form. We will open it and we will close it. Inside the form, we will have some input tags. Input tags are self-closing tags. Okay, I will write this input and I will close the tag. This is a self-closing tag. Let's actually see how this looks in my browser. As you see, this is input. I can write inside this input. I can write anything inside this input. I can have placeholder, for example, placeholder. For example, enter your username. If I refresh the page, I will have placeholder here. And then what I can have input type. For example, input type is, if input type is text, it means you can write plain text there. If input type is number, let's say, it means you can only write numbers, okay? Not text. If I write text, as you see, it will not write text. We have E here because of scientific notation, like something to the power of something, but I cannot write any other letter. 1 to the power of 10 to 3, I don't know. Okay. Let's say I have a text input, which is for username, and then I have another input, which is called type is password. Okay, whenever the type is password, whatever you write inside it, it will be shown like this. Okay, and this is what type password looks like. I can have a placeholder for that as well, like enter your password. Okay, like this. And for each input, inputs should have a label. A label means that, like, for what this input for, like, do I need to write name here, surname here? And the placeholder doesn't count as label. It's just it is just shown inside this input. For each input should have a label. For example, I should have a label tag, for example, username. Then I will have a label tag like password. Will like this: username, password, username, password. And usually this label should be associated with this input. Okay, I can give an ID attribute to an input. ID is just ID and should be unique. For example, this, if I have username ID here, this cannot have the same ID. The ID should be different for each element, each tag. For example, I can write for username. It's just visually it doesn't make sense, like it doesn't change anything visually, but semantically it means that whenever you look at your code, whenever you read this code, you understand that this label is for this ID input. Username ID, this is this ID, and this for should be same. And for this one as well, for example, whenever I click label, it will focus in the input because I have associated this label with this input. Okay. We can have different types of inputs as well. For example, we have an input which is called checkbox. Checkbox is this. And yeah, we can actually write this checkbox inside the label like this. And then I can write some text here. For example, I agree with terms and conditions. You see, whenever I click the text, it checks. And because this label belongs to this input. Like if I take this input from this outside of this label, whenever I click text, nothing will happen. Okay, I have to find the small stuff and need to click it. Another way is, as you know already, for example, terms and conditions. I can add ID like this. This is another way to associate label to input. It will have same effect. I click on the label and checkbox is triggered. But usually checkboxes is written like this because this is easier. But for other inputs, you usually write ID and for. Okay, we can have another type, which is called radio. For example, input type radio, input type radio. Let's call it male, female, and nigger. Okay, let's not be racist. Other. So this is male, female, and other. Okay. As you already know, it's not possible to be male, female, and other at the same time. For that reason, we should select only one of those options. Yeah. So if we want to say that this male, female, and other inputs are on the same category, we need to add name attribute to them. Okay, name gender. Let's call it name gender, and name gender, name gender. if all of them have the same name, your browser will understand that they all belong to the same category, which is called gender. In this case, like male, other, male, female, other. I can choose only one of them. By the way, you can use a tag which is called BR. BR means break. If I use this break here, it will go to bottom, okay? Break, let's add another break here. After this one, I will add another break. After this one, I will add another break. Then we'll have like this break, this break, this break. It's just new line. Okay.
How did we do that? We only choose one of these genders. What's the
Yeah. To do that, we only need to add name attribute to each of these radio inputs. And this name attribute need to be same. Okay. If I do it like this, 1, 2, 3, it will be same as before, like male, female, and other. This is the plus in LGTB plus. LGTB, I don't know. Okay, but then if they are the equal, and then you can have only one selected. And actually, we can have like multiple breaks here just to have more space between them, because we don't know CSS yet. We have to do it like this. Okay, and yeah. Yes, that's it. What else we can have here? Let's say this is a registration form. We have a username, password. Like there are a lot of inputs. For example, even we have input which is called type color, which is for color picker. For example, we can add here label and we can call it, please choose the color of your skin. I know this is very racist registration form, but yeah, you can, for example, if you can write an algorithm, let's say if they choose a color which is close to black, then you can either block the user. Yeah. Let's call it BR. BR. Let's have some break. Okay, choose the color of your skin. They can choose the color of their skin. As you see, it shows like RGB values. Do you know what is RGB in color system? Okay, let's talk about next lecture. What is RGB? Because in CSS you need to write some colors. You need to know what is RGB. It stands for red, green, and blue, basically. Okay. What else? I don't think that we need to have like, you need to know all of the input types. Like if you have HTML input, if you write in HTML input types in Google, you will have like plenty of stuff here. Like even we have like password, number, months, image. There is an input. Yeah, file is actually important one. Let's show it. Let's have break, for example, another break, actually 2 breaks. Let's add a label, choose file. For example, let's say upload your CV, for example. Input type file. And I can refresh it. Yeah, upload your CV. I can choose it. For example, let's say this is measurement PNG. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. If you want to submit the form, as you know, we are inside this form tag, and I want to submit my form, let's say. I can add an input which is called type submit. type, submit, and value, send, I don't know, register. Okay. Input type submit will show a button to us, and value of this stuff is written inside on the button. Whenever I click submit, the form is submitted somewhere. Okay, as you see, whenever I click register, the page is refreshed. And because actually in HTML, whenever you submit a form, submit an HTML form, there is an actually in form, there is an actually attribute which is called action, Whenever you submit a form, your browser will collect all form data and will send it to this URL, whatever URL you write here. Whenever you register somewhere, you click register, this data is submitted to this action URL. Okay, and then the backend is processed that data. In the last lecture, we learned how register works, for example. Where this data comes from, usually user fills it and submits a form, and this data goes to our backend, and our backend goes to inserts it in the database, and next time when we log in, the same stuff happens. For example, I can say that whenever the form is submitted, please send me home.html. Okay, I will fill it. I don't know, fill it. I will choose some file and then register it. It will send me to this. It will send me to this page. Yes, home page. What else we can do here? It's just input type file.
Where did we see this command?
This button.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Let me show you. Upload your CV. This is the label I've written. And this is the input type file. Whenever I click it, it will open me this browser, like this file explorer, and I will be able to choose some file.
When you choose this file, when it's going to stop.
What?
For example, you choose any file. Where it will stop.
Any file? It's not stored anywhere actually. It just shows the name of the file here. If I want to store this file in my backend, when this form is submitted, this file will be sent to my backend over the network with HTTP protocol, and my backend will get this file and store it somewhere.
But right now,
Yeah, we don't have.
so it will be stored nowhere.
It will be stored nowhere, yes. It will just show you the file name. Because this file is already in my computer, it will just show the file name from my computer. Whenever I, for example, send it, for example, it will be sent to this action URL. This whatever the action URL is here. And usually people write backend URL here. For example, I don't know, http:// mybackend.com, something like this. And yeah, this data is sent to your backend.com. I don't know, let's call it API, register, and the data will go there, and your backend will get all this data and will store files in somewhere, store data in database, and etc. You can actually define the HTTP method here. For example, is it post? Is it get? We can define it here. Okay, HTML is not that hard. You just need to write it. For home, I expect you to build your CV using HTML. Okay, put your image. It doesn't need to be good, look nice. I don't expect it from you because we haven't learned CSS. Just write HTML. Write your name, I don't know, full name, some experiences, some stuff. Also, please explore some other tags as well. For example, there is a list tag here, let's say, which is called unordered list. Kenan, Murat, Maksud, Rasul. Okay, for example, this is a list, as you see. There is another list which is called ordered list. I expect you to research those tags. For example, this is ordered list, this is unordered list. As you see, I didn't write anything here, 1, 2, 3, 4, anything I didn't write, but this list is ordered like this. Yeah, please at home try to build your CV, at least very basic version of your CV using HTML. Put some image, put some lists, I don't know, format some text, put your summary of your data, etc. Yes, this is it for today's lecture. If you have any questions, let's discuss. If you don't, let's finish. No questions? Okay. For the next lecture, we will learn CSS. We will learn how to make this web page beautiful. At least, yes,
And then we need to vote.
yes.
Have a test.
Yeah, I think yes, you should have test.
When we will test.
I don't know, maybe next week, next week. I have no idea.
It would be good if you have a break. After.
We can have, I don't know, 1 week break to prepare. It's, just to revise. Baştan baxmaya ehtiyac yoxdur. Python'da təkrarlayın. O program, programviz.com. Məncə programviz.com-dan başdan gedin. Bütün Python'dan nə keçmişik. Bunlara baxın. Network'e biraz baxın. Bir də başqa nə? HTML. Onlara da baxa bilərsiniz. Evet.
Aslında bu biraz sade şeylerden işleme falan. Ona bilmesin. İki bilgiler arasında yapmak.
HTML öyrənmək üçün döşünə ehtiyac yoxdur məncə. Açırsan, yazırsan, öyrənirsən. CSS də öyrənmək üçün lazım deyil. Amma mən məsəl üçün başqa kursda dərs deyəndə HTML, CSS keçəndə, yəni uşaqlar normal öyrənirdi. Amma məsəl JavaScript-ə çatanda bir də gördüm 10 nəfər, 2 sinifdə 5 nəfər qaldı. Sonra əslində JavaScript-i öyrəndən sonra React asan da, amma cəmaət JavaScript-də çətinlik çəkir. Niyə? Çünki JavaScript proqramlaşdırma dilidir. HTML markup dilidir. Mən mətn yazıram, imla yazıram, elə bir ki, prosta format. Proqramlaşdırma dili sayılmır. Markup dili sayılır. Yəni prosta yazı yazırsın.
Məncə Python'da kullanırsın.
JavaScript proqramlaşdırma dilidir. Necə ki, Python'da if var, for var. Çətin deyil, amma belə qəribə şeyləri var, belə adam başa düşmür. Çox adam elə bir JavaScript-i başlayanda ilişir, for-da zətdə, functionlarda zətdə, başını bıraxır.
Başa düşməyə ilişir, yoxsa əzbərləməkdə ilişir.
Məncə